Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 23 of Syncing with ServiceNow. I'm your host, Andy Whiteside. I've got, well, I'm just going to say it because I just kind of picked on them. I got Kristen and two knuckleheads. Hey, guys. How's it going? No, so Kristen, McDonald's with us. Kristen is hanging out down in Texas, this family stuff where she's handling, taking care of business and working at the same time. Kristen, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. So Kristen's multitasking and prepared for today, and we're going to talk through some ServiceNow innovation trends with her, and then we're going to have Fred and Derek, Fred Reynolds, who runs our Modern Apps practice. Fred, how's it going?
Wonderful. How are you guys doing today?
Good. I just alluded to you or gave you the visual of you being the OGBYN of ServiceNow at XenTegra. How's that make you feel?
Yeah, a little odd, but that's okay. I just got called a knucklehead too, and I'm supposed to run the practice. So, it's okay. We're starting off on a great foot. I'm excited and happy.
You're a very well-prepared OGBYN knucklehead birthing our ServiceNow practice, which it's about a year and a half old now. So it's coming. It's here. And you guys are doing a good job leading that.
I feel like we're having lots of babies. I'll just say it like that if we're going to keep with your analogy.
A lot of babies. I'm going to come back to that in a second. Derek is with us. Derek is in the middle of birthing our Salesforce practice, but he's also involved in the Modern Apps practice, which was foundationally started around ServiceNow. Derek, you picking up on any of the ServiceNow stuff?
Yeah, I am actually picking up a little bit. I mean, I'm a little dangerous because I got myself a developer instance of ServiceNow and I'm starting to play around with some stuff. So pretty interesting.
Well, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I told Fred forever, and I've been telling you that I think your legacy, your lineage is actually on integration stuff around ServiceNow. You just happen to go to Salesforce and pick up a passion around that too. So you're kind of a dangerous secret weapon. It's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, I kind of look at it like, Windows and Mac. I mean, I can use whatever I have in front of me if it's getting the job done.
Yeah.
Quite frankly. So these platforms are extremely impressive that are out there these days, ServiceNow being one of them. So yeah, it's really cool stuff.
I saw a college quarterback scramble, a right-handed college quarterback scramble to his left over the weekend and throw a spiral with his left hand. That's kind of like you for a touchdown.
There you go.
All right, so I'm going to do what I call the XenTegra commercial real quick. So if you're listening to this podcast and you are a ServiceNow customer and you do not feel like you're getting the value out of the partner you're currently working with and ServiceNow potentially, but the partner you're working with, reach out to us, Andy Whiteside, Fred Reynolds, Derek Cassese, Kristen McDonald. Reach out to us on LinkedIn, shoot us a message. That's why we're here. That's why we do this proactively. You don't sit around and wait for you to have a need. We kind of help identify needs that are out there, trends we're going to talk about today. We try to be proactive. We try to be a real value-added reseller, integrator, managed service provider, you name it. And so that's the commercial. So off we go with doing that. So Kristen, the blog you brought today was from September 12th of this year by a guy named Rob Palmer. So give Rob his credit. We don't want to be like ChatGPT and just not give credit. So we give everybody credit. And the title of it is 6 Innovation Trends and What They Mean for Your Business. I assume these are going to be ServiceNow related, but who knows? We'll find out. So Kristen, why did you pick, using what's in the opening paragraphs, why did you pick this blog?
So I think every business is looking to expand their innovation at this moment in time. We've got lots of change happening in the technology world and change is happening at a pace that we've never seen before. So a lot of companies are trying to get their hands around it and identify, how do I keep up with this pace of change? So this blog speaks to that quite well. Yeah.
Fred, your thoughts on pace of change being faster than ever? Kristen said that. I believe she's right. Do you believe that, and why?
Yeah, I think that not only has the pace of change really increased several years ago, it just hasn't let up. And you would have thought that maybe change was happening and innovation was happening, but we see innovation at the next level, seems like every year, right? And the AI stuff's the big boom now, but either way, innovation just continues to plow forward. Some companies, some people haven't even caught up to moving off of Excel even onto a platform like ServiceNow. People still haven't digitized what they have. So they're never catching up in that way. So when I look at it as far as innovation and exponentially growing, I mean, it is not just what's happened in the last 5 years. It just has not slowed down. It seems to be increasing.
Do you think that's a true statement? Since the beginning of the industrial age, it's just now so prevalent and happening so fast, you can't ignore it?
Could be. I believe so. I probably, talking to my dad and going back when he was in his prime of working, 20, 30 years ago, he probably thought the same thing. Things are moving very fast and we keep innovating. Maybe, but these days, I'm telling you, the technology is there for us to to develop quicker, faster, less people. So I think we see more of it.
And I'm going to bring that same question to Derek, but I'm going to chime in this first. And if you think about what the promise of AI is, it hadn't even got started yet.
That's true.
So Derek, do you see this happening? You see, you've been on the customer side, various vendor side. Now you're on the integrator side. Do you see that in not only your work world, but your personal world, how fast things are changing?
Yeah, I mean, that's the main constant that we have is change in what we do, which is kind of why I love being a part of this whole thing, is because what I did 10 years ago is totally different from what I'm going to do the next 10 years. Yeah. But what I also see is kind of interesting in that for customers and businesses to stay relevant, you've got to innovate, you've got to be, you've got to continue to try to be first. And in order to get talent, you've got to continue to innovate, because you've got to entice those new talent pool coming out of college and whatnot that they want to go work for you. So it's like twofold, threefold, fourfold. It just keeps continuing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm excited for you now on this side of the business, because I don't think you've ever been on this side of the business where you actually get to go make it happen for people. So it's going to be fun for me to watch you do that over the next few years. I just had this visual. Tell me if this visual makes sense to you guys. It's like one of those like Tour de France bike races where throughout the course of the race, this big packs of people changing first place, second place, and it just happens. Like they just keeps revolving, and then all of a sudden somebody makes a big break for it and takes off, and the whole pack has to chase them down. To me, that's kind of what it feels like, except the rate of change and the pack shuffling around just keeps getting faster and faster, and everybody keeps going faster than they thought was even possible.
And I think to add on to that, I think where you had a bike race of 50 people, now it's 200, now it's 300, right? I think the people in the race are a lot more.
For sure. All right. So, Kristen, the first section here says exponential innovation. I think we just got through talking about that, but is that a trend that you see happening, and how does ServiceNow play a role in that?
Absolutely. So again, that goes back to the pace of change, and these tools just kind of building off each other to accelerate that pace of change. But tool sets like ServiceNow and even Salesforce help tremendously in dealing with that pace of change, because you've got one of my favorite things to share with clients is, you've got an army of developers behind each of these platforms, and they are constantly improving, constantly building on the platforms, and they're always looking to the next big thing and how to incorporate that and how to incorporate it wisely so that it plays well with the other aspects of the platform. So having a tool set like ServiceNow, like Salesforce, backing up your technology solutions and your services and products that you're offering to customers really can help you deal with that pace of change, because they're right there with you, building alongside you. Yep.
Fred, your thoughts?
Well, when I think about this in the terms of ServiceNow and exponential innovation, I really think about the platform they built for their users and their customers, right? I look at it saying, if I'm a business unit within a company, I've been given the ability with flow design or a way to automate some of my processes, that's innovation to them, and that's extreme considering the fact that they've done it a certain way for a while. So you take that times multiple people in that business unit or across a company, that's how I think it gets exponential, because you can take a platform like this, a technology, and create a way for them to drag and drop a process flow that becomes all of a sudden automated. That's big. That could be a lot of cost reduction, and that could be a lot of time savings, everything.
Yeah. Derek, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this is just the way of the world, right? I mean, we've got to keep trying to figure out what the next big thing is, and we try to, if it's not the right thing, we fail fast, we get to the next thing, and then we continue on. And like we just said, right, AI is the thing right now. It wasn't too long ago that, what was it, blockchain, or NFTs or something else. And so it's exciting, right? I think it's exciting because with the whole GPT stuff that's come out, it's really kind of flipped this thing on its head, and now there's so many new things coming out just from that one piece of technology being basically accessible to everybody.
Yep. So Rob, who wrote this blog, I don't know that he put these in order of most important, but I'm going to change number 2 and say it should have been number 1, but I'm going to tweak it slightly. Fred just mentioned, or somebody did, platform. So to me, number 2 trend is people moving to a common platform but also realizing that there's other technologies, like in this case, ServiceNow talking to Salesforce, ServiceNow talking to Citrix Cloud, that are not siloed anymore, like they would have been, like a Citrix on-premises solution, ServiceNow platform, whole bunch of stuff on the platform, plus non-siloed data architectures that can be brought into that platform as it makes sense. So if I was going to do these in order of priority, number 2, which is called shared data architectures, I would actually put as number 1, because once you start heading in that trend, all that other stuff can ride along behind it in a nice, comfortable place. Kristen, am I talking nonsense?
No, you are not talking nonsense at all. So yes, absolutely. We see a lot of aggregation and consolidation into some of these larger platform as a service type solutions, like again, ServiceNow and Salesforce. A lot of companies have a huge application footprint, and different organizations within their company, different departments within their company may have their own little tool set that they're using, but it doesn't talk to any other tool set. And they really lose the efficiency and the productivity and even the visibility into their processes and their metrics when you have those silos. So we do see a very big push into these platforms that can handle a lot of different functions so that you can consolidate and also can integrate well with other platforms. Yeah.
Brett, I know you've come from an environment where you kind of did this, where you took a platform and then you started integrating with other technologies that couldn't be on that platform, but could be talked to from that platform and vice versa. Your thoughts on shared data architectures?
Well, first of all, I want to recognize what you did. I really like what you did, right? Flipping this 2 to 1, it should have been number 1 if I look at some of the others that are coming behind it, because it truly is the most important thing. You're not going to have that exponential innovation without having a core place to start from. It is breaking out those silos and getting the data in a centralized place for the ones that become along after this is even more important. But in order to really start to make change and create automation in the company, so I'm skipping ahead, not the automation, but as far as data architecture, you have to get it into the same place to really build off of that. So really, to me, it's building blocks. And this is the start of that, is where's the data sitting? Can you put it into a centralized place, or at least the impression of a centralized place, even if it is multiple databases, but be able to have access to them. It's extremely important.
And Derek, I know you've done a lot of work previous to coming to XenTegra, where you were working on a platform that brought in data or worked with other data. Your thoughts on shared data architectures?
Yeah, I mean, it's really all about the left hand knowing what the right hand is doing, in my opinion, because you could have all your data in a platform, but you could still be somewhat siloed in a way if you don't put the appropriate security around it, the appropriate visibility around it, to make sure that the appropriate people see what they need at the time they need it. So yeah, this is extremely important when it comes to kind of moving out of the whole world where everybody just carried around all their data on their laptop in Excel. So it was totally siloed, to then you get it in the platform, but then you need to make sure it's available to everybody else once it's in the platform.
Right. One of my favorite and least favorite things to talk about is number 3 here, automation technologies. Kristen, I'm a huge fan of automation. If we're automating things that make sense to automate, if we're just, creating things we got to troubleshoot later, I'm not such a big fan. Your thoughts on the automation trend they call out here?
Yeah, so AI and machine learning obviously are the hot keywords as of now for automation technologies. We'll see that particular baby mature over the next few years and see how that flushes out in terms of usefulness. I think we will definitely see quite a bit coming from that space. But even to go just to a simpler place in terms of automation, I do just want to hit on the importance of workflows and automated workflows, because that is kind of the backbone of everything you're doing. And to be able to automate workflows, coordinate work between individuals, kick off tasks and notifications, and as Derek mentioned, alert the right people at the right time, kick off the right body of work at the right time. Just getting to that place is still a place where a lot of businesses are trying to get to at this point in time. So even something as simple as an automated workflow can really take a lot of businesses to the next level.
Yeah. Brett, any examples of something you guys automated in your previous role?
Oh man, what do we not automate? So when you talk about event management, automation is the key to auto remediate, to build. So we did automation end to end. So whether it's building a new cloud type stack of products, or whether it was going to be to go out and look for an issue, auto remediate the issue, and come back. So driving down the types of raw alarms down to real incidents issues was all about automation at various levels.
Right. Derek, any automation stories you can recall that stand out?
No, I got a lot, but I mean, so in addition to automation, I think that there's something also that this brings just by the nature of what it is, and that's consistency. So, instead of having to onboard people and tell them they've got to do this, then 5 other things, and don't forget to check this box and all that, you can basically take that process and automate it, significantly reducing onboarding time as well. So, the way I look at it is if you're ever doing something repeatedly, then that's a candidate to be a automation of some type.
Yep. They definitely need to start looking into how to do that. In the old days, we wrote scripts, and then we put those into some kind of task scheduler. Now it happens in a much more simple way using something like ServiceNow. Going back to automation and number 2, right? Once you get all that data somewhere where it's either in that platform or accessible from that platform, things like automation become simpler to do, and you're almost compelled to do it versus before where you had to go pluck it out of places and then do something with it. All right, number 4 is new modes of work with the right tools. Companies are no longer behind 4 walls. They're distributed workforce, distributed ecosystems. Kristen, how is this impacting us?
Yep. So this is something we saw quite acutely with COVID and the lockdowns. We moved from organizations that came into the workplace to remote organizations. So with that migration, we saw a lot of the cloud-based tool sets kind of coming up and really coming into their own. That's something I think will continue as we kind of struggle with the hybrid approaches to workplaces and again, the data sharing and security and sovereignty and regulatory issues and things like that. So I think this is a trend we'll definitely see continuing, but something that has been high on individuals' minds for the past few years, for sure.
Yeah, that becomes even more important the way we work in today. Fred, your thoughts here?
Well, I guess I may take this a little bit differently, but my thoughts around this is just when I think about new modes, the right tools or new modes of work, I think about ServiceNow too and the applications and all the development they put into the last 10 years. And I think about a particular application and a use case, and it comes with built-in workflows and built-in structure to help someone take that next step. So I think about right tools being there. There's tools now you can just download, plug and play, and you're off to the races working. And if it's trying to file some standard, some standard process, even if it's something that has to be certified, these things can come to you out of the box these days. And I think that's a quick way to start using the tools, the right tools quickly.
Yeah, we had a podcast with Citrix and ServiceNow earlier this morning talking about their ITSM connector, and came out as a connector, and then they started adding workflows into it almost right away. That's a great example of new modes of work are requiring us to think about what we use the platform for and integrations with. Derek, to you, any thoughts on how the new work modes and the tools needed apply?
No, I mean, I agree with everything that's been said, and it was really put to the test the past couple of years with COVID, as was mentioned. But also just mobile becoming more of a tool of consumption and becoming a tool of creation, if it's done correctly, I think is also an interesting aspect of this.
Yeah. All right, I think we touched on this one. Any user as a developer, let's see, software becomes increasingly complex. Organizations need to make application development more accessible. Low code. Kristen, is your background as a developer?
It is, yes.
I kind of assumed that, but so you're probably the right person to ask about this. What does low code, no code bring to the world that, depending on full stack developers, could not?
Mm-hmm. It really brings the tool sets and the ability to create the tool sets to the individuals who are in the trenches every day and really understand what they need. So you end up with this group that ServiceNow terms citizen developers. In fact, that's a term you'll probably hear a little more widespread, but the low code, no code platforms really are coming up. They're really having a heyday right now. And I think they'll continue to, especially as some of the generative AI solutions and features allow really anybody, regardless of their background, to build out their own tool sets.
Yeah.
So that's something I think is really going to expand over the next few years. Yep.
I'm going to skip Fred real quick and go straight to Derek. Derek, this makes me think Podio when I see this.
Yeah. Yeah, like drag and drop and that type of stuff, right? I mean, so obviously I was a programmer for the first half of my career as well. Writing code, and it's if you enjoy it, then you enjoy it. If you don't, then it's torture. And the other issue is you have a very select group of people that can then manage environments if you got a lot of custom code. So this drive of low code solutions, drag and drop, it's good from a sustainability perspective across the board. I see it in Salesforce and ServiceNow. All these platforms have to do that. I think that's kind of table stakes these days.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, this is going to sound really weird, but it's like in a time of war, you have to take every citizen and that's capable and make them part of your army. That's what's going to be necessary to meet the demand of what's coming next.
Yep.
And Fred, as someone who is trying to meet the demand and getting people onboarded with certifications and knowledge, your thoughts on any user as a developer? Comment.
Well, I'll take it from two angles. Yes, running the practice and we're having those people, that's, a guarantee. Having the knowledgeable people that's going through it's proven it time and time again to be able to solve that. But I think if I look at it from a customer's perspective in ServiceNow and using ServiceNow as a tool or choosing that, any user being a developer is exactly what I've seen in one customer so far, where every BU he has multiple ServiceNow, what he calls developers, but really what they were people who understood the process and procedures that they had. And he gave them the ability to go be now a developer being that drag and drop. It's low code. They can put it in there. They can test it. They don't have to compile it, run it, make sure it all passes. It's a matter of making it easy for them to do. So when I look at it, any user being a developer, if I had to go back and do it over again, I probably would have put this more in practice of spreading it out in the different business units. And then I may have been more successful with infiltrating a lot more.
Yeah. I'll say this for Kristen and for Derek and Fred. You guys are all computer science related folks and developers. 80% of being a developer is understanding the process, the workflow, getting it documented, and then the last 30% or so is actually writing the code. Is that fair when you evaluate a developer?
I think that's where we're heading. That's definitely where we're heading. I think, and that actually goes into the next bullet with the partner networks. I think partnerships are really going to become more consultative, more advice driven, more let's get your architecture right. Let's design the overall solution. And as we get more and more citizen developers in the platform, it may be less and less actual hands-on keyboard for coding. Yeah.
Well, the title of it's number 6, expansive partner networks. And that doesn't just mean partners like XenTegra. That means people who haven't today even realized they're going to be part of this. They're going to show up at some point. Fred, your thoughts on the partner need and the likelihood of it being there and expanding to attack the need?
Well, I'll tell you this, in ServiceNow, and we even have Derek with Salesforce, and both of these platforms are so huge, they're so big across and broad, right? You have to have an extensive network of partners and people who have it, right? Some people are specialized in certain areas and they may not be experts in all. So I think you have to leverage, the partner community to even solve some of the use cases customers have. So I see it being more and more important to make sure, that the customers have that partners that are not afraid to reach out and grab expertise in other areas. So it's to enable that partner community.
How about I say it like this? Companies like ServiceNow are going to have to see their partners as better partners than they currently see them. And they're also going to have to see customers as partners as well and not as customers.
Absolutely.
What do you think, Derek? You're coming from that side of the world within a month ago or so. You think they get that yet?
Who's they? Not all of them. Not all of them.
Well, in this case, ServiceNow and your former example, Salesforce, I don't feel like some of them at certain levels in the organization realize that partners are going to have to be better partners for you and customers are going to have to be seen as partners as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. But there's also another layer here too, in that like the big engine that is, the ServiceNows and the Salesforces, et cetera, have to keep moving. And when we go to the top and we see that, exponential innovation bullet, they're going to keep moving, and that's going to leave the partners to kind of, unmuddy the waters for the customers, if you will. And I think that's going to be extremely important moving forward. Hey, what's really important? Maybe what should you wait for? That type of stuff.
Going back to my bicycle race example, there's 2 or 3 people break away, but the peloton stays together. And in the long run, it's that peloton mass that will win out, and those other will come back and even fade away if they're not careful. I don't know if that worked or not, but I tried. All right. Well, Kristen, thanks for bringing this to us. There's, like you said, there's a ton of blogs on the ServiceNow site that really talk about business value, and it doesn't really get into the ones and zeros that much. Well, that's on purpose, because the goal here in technology and talking about it from our perspective is making sure we're proving business value, not just not just the tech involved. So thanks for bringing this one, and we'll look forward to talking to you again next time, and as well as my my friends who I called knuckleheads, which was probably taken the wrong way a while ago.
All right, awesome. Thanks, everybody.
All right, guys, thank you, and we'll do it again next week.
Marty, thank you.